video, we are going to talk about how to use the z-scores that we found last section and apply that to probability. And for much of this class, I have kind of bebopped back and forth between calculators and kind of used this new one as like sometimes as a supplemental or, oh, here's a cool shortcut. But really, this is the way to go. So if you haven't started using this calculator, this is where it's at. I will post my old videos that talk about tables and show you the tables, because if you're interested, if you just really don't like this calculator and you want to use one that's like you have in your hand, I don't even know where my old one is, because I don't use it anymore. I will post those old videos too, but it's just much better, faster this way. We can actually get past like the mind numbing part and into the actual like task of statistics. Okay, so let us go over to the worksheet. And it should look like this. And it says to find the area of the shaded region. So we can see over here, we have this shaded region. So here's our normal curve. And we have a line right here. And this line, I guess I could draw an, oh, yikes. I could draw an actual line right there. This line is where our z-score is. So that is telling us z. And everything shaded would be the probability that we're looking for. The area of the shaded region is actually a way of talking about probability. So I just want to rewrite this problem using probability. So this problem would be saying, this is what it's asking. It's saying find the probability where x is less than 1.13. And this is how I know. Because this line goes through 1.13. I guess it's z. The variable doesn't matter. We're not worried about that. And then less than is always to the left. So this is everything smaller than less than. Versus, I'm just going to talk about 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll find the answers to them. Number 2, you can see we're at 0.59. So for the probability, we would say the probability that x, and this time we're going greater than. And you can even check the numbers on the number line, like at 0.59, 1.18, 1.77, and so forth. The numbers are getting bigger. That's the bigger direction. So we're talking about numbers greater than 0.59. That's what this question is asking. So find the area of the shaded region is another way of saying find the probability. And given whatever's going on the picture. So again, this one's the probability that x is less than 1.113. This is x is greater than 0.59. And this third picture, there's 3 scenarios, less than, greater than, or this third scenario would be in between. So we have this one, the probability is in between, the probability that we're in between, so that would be the smaller one would be negative 0.92 is less than x is less than positive 0.92 in between. Okay, so those are not the answers. Those are the questions. And I wanted to have you see the written and the picture version of the questions because we're going to use both in the calculator. Last but not least, let's see, those are the 3 scenarios. Okay, I'm sure there's more I want to say, but we will just talk about that as we go on this journey of calculatorness. Okay, hang on, I gotta get it off to the right side. Oopsies, come on. Okay, I want you to be able to see the calculator big enough here. So, first one, okay, first of all, what are we doing? We are not doing calculation. We are not doing statistics. We are doing distributions. We talked about this. If you watched my bonus video for a shortcut in chapter 4.2, you've seen this distributions. If not, welcome to distributions. So we have distributions, and we are talking about normal distributions. We talked about this in the last section, last video. These are normal distributions. So we're going to go down to normal. And one last thing, I think this is what I was going to say. Over here, we see the mean is 0. In the instructions, it says the mean is 0 and the standard deviation is 1. That's how this worksheet's going to go today. We will change that up in other sections, but right now, the mean is 0 and the standard deviation is 1, which is the default. So we will go to next. Okay, so we said we want the probability that x is less than. Now, pause. Less than versus less than or equal to, I don't care. The reason I don't care is because I'm talking about this whole area. So if you, and this is like a fence, and this is like the grassy area. If I wanted to find the area with the fence as the cutoff, or you tore down the fence, but I still wanted to see how much grass was there. Either way, fence or no fence, the area of the grass will remain the same, whether you include the border or not. So I don't care about less than versus less than or equal to. The only thing I care about is when it's less than versus when it's greater than. You need to know those differences, but the line underneath doesn't matter. And to be honest, you saw me drawing those or equal to's in the last video when they mattered. So if they don't matter, I'm not going to draw them. Okay, first one, probability that x is less than or equal to 1.13. So I already have that set up. Probability that x is less than or equal to, so I just type in 1.13, I hit enter, and here's my answer. Now, we're gonna just, for now, put all probabilities to 4 decimal places. That's pretty typical for probability is 4 decimal places with these types of problems. However, just be aware on the homework, you may see a problem that goes to like 3 decimal places. So just read the instructions and you'll see. So this first answer, I'm just going to put the answer here so I don't have to scroll all the way over and lose my picture. It would be 0.870, and then that will round to an 8. That's it. Not too shabby. Okay. Next, we're going to use these for applications. This is kind of just the let's practice with the calculator page and look at pictures page, because next video we'll play let's do this with words. Okay, so that's why this video is going to seem just kind of plug and chug because we're just getting used to it. Next picture, we said P is greater than or equal to. Now, mu is 0, sigma is 1 on this whole page. So I don't need to go back and change that for this page. For this page, I'm just going to keep it the same. So I'm going to go to number 2, which is greater than. So I need to go to change this symbol. We need to change this picture right here. So I highlighted the picture by hitting over. And then when I hit OK, I'm given choices. So I have, this would be like example 1 with the shading to the left. This bottom one would be like example 2 with the shading to the right. And this middle one would be like example 3, which is in between. So I'm on number 2. I'm going to go to this picture, which matches that picture. And you'll notice that the symbol changes to greater than or equal to. Perfect. So then I want greater than or equal to. I'm going to go over to my 0. And I'm going to change that to 0.59. And now I have my answer for number 2, which is 0.277, and then we'll round up to 6 to get that to 4 decimal places. On the homework, I think on some of them, they're going to give you like a table to use if you want. If you don't want to watch my video on the table and you don't want to use the table on the homework, they can all be done exactly with this method. No matter how the problem is presented, you'll still see this type of information. So then you can just go ahead and write the probability using this calculator. Okay, number 3, go down to, or actually go up to the in-between picture. And it says that it is in between negative 0.92 and positive 0.92, and you see it looks very much like the picture right here, and there is my answer. 0.6424. Okay, so we've gone from here's the z-score, here's the shading of the picture, to what's and finding the probability. The second section on this homework, or this assignment, so 4, 5, and 6 are all in the same heading right here. Again, we have the normal distribution has a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1. But this time, it says what the shaded area is. It's telling us right here, oh, that's not an arrow. This is the probability. This is like the reverse of what we just did. So the question is saying the probability of X is less than what equals 0.9599. And we need to find out that what. I know it's less than, because again, when I have my cutoff here, I don't know where it cuts off. That's what I'm going to calculate. But I see that everything is shaded to the left, and left is less than. Number 5, oh, number 5 is also less than. Okay, not too shabby. So this time on our calculator, we're going to say the probability that X is less than, I don't know what, we'll find out, is equal to 0.0901. Because again, these 4-digit numbers are the probability. And finally, we have our line over here. I do want to talk about what type of answers we'll get, so I'll talk about that in a second. We have our line there, and that tells us that the probability that X, and now we're going to the right, so this is X is greater than what, equals 0.8599. Okay, before we go to the calculator, I want to estimate some of these answers. So it tells us in the instructions that the mean is 0. That means the middle from our normal distribution, the mean's always in the middle. The middle on all of these is 0. So automatically, I know that whatever this answer is, it's positive because it's to the right of 0. And both of these, even though one is less than and one is greater than, notice the line, the red line, is to the left of 0. So those are going to give me negative answers. What are the answers? Let's find out. Okay, so going up to number 4, we don't have to go all the way back. You can if you want, but the mean and the standard deviation is still 0. So what I'm going to do for this first one, I need X is less than. So I go to the first one. And now I'm going to leave this alone because I don't know what that answer is. But I do know that it should equal 0.9599. So I enter the probability on the right. The z-score goes on the left. The probability goes on the right. And when I hit OK, I get my z-score. Now, it's positive, which is exactly what I thought it would be. And so for this answer, z equals, and I told you on probability, very common to round to 4 decimal places. Well, for z-scores, and we saw this in the last video anyways, you want to round to 2 decimal places. So this is 1.75. These are just like, by definition, so you're not going to see specific instructions. The only time you'll see a specific instructions is if they want something different than normal. So z is normally 2 decimals. Probability is normally 4 decimals. Anything else will be specified. Okay, so that is, in case you couldn't tell, that is the answer. Where's my box? Oh, I messed this box up a couple videos ago. You might remember in chapter 4, I messed that box up. So we'll just forget about that for right now. Now I have too many boxes. Okay, going down here. Now we have another less than, so I'm going to leave this the same, but I'm expecting the answer to be negative because the z is on the left of 0. So I go back, the box is already highlighted from last time, so I'm just going to, maybe I'll hit OK. Oh, there we go. Let's delete that out, 0.0901. And there's my negative z. As a reminder, we go to 2 decimal places. So z equals negative 1.34. it. Remember, this is just kind of a plug and chug practice video. We'll get into more applications in the next one. Finally, I have a greater than situation. The line is over here to the left of 0, so I'm expecting a negative answer. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to greater than, because I need my symbol to be correct. Then I know what the probability is. I know the shaded area or the probability. So over here, I will type in 0.8599. And here's my z, and it's negative as expected. So z equals negative 1.08, rounding to 2 decimal places. Cool. All right, last but not least, we have this section right here, 7 through 12. So I am going to write do yourself first. Do these yourself, 7 through 12. And then when you come back, after I hit pause, I get a little close when I'm not like on the main screen. When you come back, I will have all of those worked out, so you can either quickly double check your answers, or I will talk them through as well, so that way you can get any fixes that you need to get. All right, so go ahead and pause it, and I will be right back too. All right, we are back. How did I get short? Oh, I think I'm sitting on my butt. Okay, I'll sit right here. Okay, so first of all, while I was on break, I got my Starbucks out of the fridge. So shout out to you if you know that your mom made this for me this morning. Thank you very much. Also, if I have more than one people's moms who work at Starbucks, let me know. I'll go visit out. Okay, anyways, back to what we were doing. I have all the answers. So if you just want to double check, voila, here you go. If there's anyone you want to see, I'm going to go ahead and work them out. So really probably the first 3, 7, 8, and 9 might have been a little tricky just because of the way it's worded. I don't know, because 10 through 12, they're written out for you how you're going to type them in. But I do want to emphasize, I don't care about the difference between z and x right now, because it's technically using z. However, the calculator just labels everything as x, no matter if it's z or x. So I'm not really particular about the notation. I just want to know that you know how to get the answer. And it's really the probability that we're looking for. So that's the answer that I want everyone to have. So just like the first problem, we said less than or equal to 1.13, and we got this rounded to 4 decimals. All of these should be rounded to 4 decimal places. 8 said in between, so we did the middle picture, and we want to go between 0.7 and 1.98. Another thing I just thought of, just because I mentioned it up here with the positives and negatives, probability is always positive. Probability is never greater than 1. So these answers should always be in between 0 and 1. If you get a negative or you get a number bigger than 1, you messed up. So you'll always see these answers between 0 and 1 if you did them correctly. Okay, number 9, greater than negative 1.82. So we have 9656. Perfect. 10, we're still at greater than, which is where I'm at right now. So I'm just going to go back to the typing in right here. And I want to do 0.59, which gives me 2776, rounded to the nearest to 4 decimals. Going to number 11. It's pretty quick once you get the hang of it, especially when it's already in the notation. Number 11 is 0.97. So we have 0.833. Ooh, no, that becomes 0.8340, 40, when you're rounding it to 4 decimal places. Again, just double check the instructions on the homework to see what to round it to. And last but not least, in between. In the past, people have always had the hardest time with in between, but in the past, I did not have this handy dandy little calculator. So I have a feeling you guys are breezing through this apparently I did this wrong last time. Let me just double check between that and that. Okay, I must have typed something in wrong because the answer is clearly 0.757. If you were waiting for me to find my mistake, I found it. If I didn't make a mistake, would it really be me making the video? It might even just be ChatGPT talking to you. Okay, so love it. Love the calculator. Ask me questions, shoot me emails, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.